For me, most of my indie shopping is done during the massive sales, as I can usually get about 3 games for under 15 bucks, especially if we're talking Steam sales, oh boy. During a sale that happened last Thanksgiving, I asked you guys on Facebook and Twitter what game from the sale would you like me to look at, and Adventures of Pip won by a lot of votes. I did some research and it was an indie game from TikTok Games. It was on a Kickstarter and was successfully funded and then put onto the Wii U and Steam. But it was later also put on PS4 and Xbox One as well. All I knew about Adventures of Pip going in was that you were able to change your resolution at will and was a platformer. So why were you guys wanting me to play this game so badly? Let's find out. And also I'm rocking the facial hair for this. Just cuz. Okay, just letting you know this right out of the gate, Adventures of Pip is not a story that should be taken seriously. Why? Well, in this kingdom, everyone exists in different resolutions. The poor 8-bit folk, and the egotistical rich 32-bit people. But one day, the Dark Queen Degrade comes in and starts to wreak havoc, and takes the princess away from the kingdom. Now it's up to Pip, a young boy born as a single pixel to save the day. The plot is extremely simplistic, but they do keep playing up the ridiculousness of this world, and there's a lot of comedic writing to boot. So while it's not important, it is an enjoyable ride throughout the story. But now let's hop right into presentation. Or jump into it. Either works really. If I had to sum up the presentation with one word, it'd be nice. All the environments are bright and colorful and all carry their themes strongly throughout their own worlds. Backgrounds are clean and very detailed, and all of the animation on Pip's forms is extremely well done, as well as the enemies, and they never blend into the background, and things are easy to spot. Except for those hidden areas that look exactly like a normal wall. That kind of stuff just always bothers me, you know? The music is also very pleasing to listen to, though I can't remember much of it off the top of my head. Except for the overworld theme. That's really good. Adventures of Pip presentation might have been very been there done that, but some of the presentation actually plays into the game itself. A proper segue for once, I like it. Adventures of Pip is a 2D puzzle platformer, where your main goal is to get to the big blue beam of light at the end. Now when I say puzzle platformer, most of the puzzles are the platforming sections themselves. To get through these sections, you're actually going to need to change yourself in order to proceed. And by change yourself, I don't mean the get a college degree and make something worthwhile of your life. No. Pip actually has the ability to change himself into 3 different types of resolution. Block Pip, who's small, light, and can float down. 8-bit Pip, who's fast, can punch, can wall jump, grab ledges, and slam onto the ground. And finally 32-bit Pip, who's heavy, can grab ledges, slam down, and has a sword. To up your resolution, you need to find these glowing blue creatures and attack them. You can also de-res yourself at will, and you're going to need to do that in order to get rid of these pink blocks. In these levels, you can find villagers. There are 3 in each level, and they're really hidden. Collecting them up fills up the town, and some of them are actually store owners, where you can buy items from them with the pixels you find in levels. Wait a minute. But we're made of pixels. Does that mean we're like selling the bodies and organs of others? That's disturbing. Well, taking these bloody blocks to people will allow you to get a lot of cool stuff, such as one-use items, extensions to your health, or upgrades like finding double the money in the game, taking half damage, and much more. At the end of each world, you fight a boss where you need to keep switching your forms in order to fight it. Once you beat it, grab a heart container and keep moving until Degrade is no more. Adventures of Pip has a lot of good things going for it. For one, I love how self-aware everything is. Let's be fair, I think we've seen enough 8-bit indie games for a lifetime, but it's nice to see them poke fun at it all, and it creates a really cool feeling throughout. Not to mention when you get to the writing, it's pretty humorous. And it pokes fun at not just platformers, but video game tropes in general, and it's great. A lot of the platforming is very unique and a lot of fun in each world. And it's pretty well paced for the most part, and Pip controls really well and I never really had a problem with him. Actually, I do want to talk about 8-bit Pip for a second, because he alone makes the game for me. Guys, 8-bit Pip controls beautifully. He's nice and fast, his jumps are right at the height where I want them to be. I never miss a beat with his wall jump, and he can even slide down to get more precise. He can grab ledges, he has punches when he needs it. He's my go-to form by far, and he's by far the most enjoyable part of the game for me. Which means now we have to talk about the other side of the coin. Okay, for the bad in Adventures of Pip, there's sadly quite a bit. For one, while each world is very unique and has their own gimmicks, the levels in those worlds really don't stand out and they kind of all blend together, especially that they share many of the same backgrounds. Next, while the game is pretty good at pacing, it can just stop hard in certain points. Mainly with 32-bit Pip, who's not only slow, but he mostly has to just throw bombs into other places. And you need to wait for the bombs flying down, which bogs down the pace, and this can happen a lot. And hurting that even more is the lack of checkpoints. For the most part, they're pretty well spaced out, but the last one for certain levels have about 3 to 5 more rooms to go afterwards. And it usually involves the kind of puzzles that you have to wait for, and if you screw up, it's all the way back and you gotta do all this waiting again. Honestly, it left a bad taste in my mouth in certain levels, and my least favorite part by far, the boss fights, which take the problem I just talked about and make it even worse. Most of them are just wait until the weak spot is open, attack it, and then wait again. And their patterns aren't exactly clear most of the time, causing you to die and then have to fight the boss over and over and over again. And these fights can be pretty glitchy as well, such as a heart piece spawning in a block that's weighing the entire platform down where there's lava there that can kill you and Oh, and also for some weird reason when I was fighting Derezia, she just flat out vanished during her boss battle. So I had to reset the game and do the level all over again, and let's just say I wasn't very happy about that. Come on! Come on! Fight me! Fight me like the real sets of ones and zeros you are! And then there's the issue of really having nothing to do after you beat the game. No extra levels, no new missions, or anything like that. The only thing left is to really go back and find all the villagers, which I honestly gave up on. Now granted, I still feel like I got a complete package in the base game, but still, I would have liked maybe something a little bit more, especially since the ending felt very abrupt. So Adventures of Pip, for having no idea what I was getting into when I booted the game up, was a fun experience. I definitely do have my annoyances and I'm not head over heels for it, but it is a fun game, and at the end of the day, that's all I really need. Adventures of Pip was a rather enjoyable time for me. I felt like there was a lot of solid platforming in here, with enough puzzles to keep my mind active while playing, and I did have a lot of fun playing this, thanks to both the gameplay and the humor. But with the issues I talked about before, it does make it a little hard to recommend for the full 15 bucks. I'd say maybe wait for a price drop about 10 bucks, and for that price, I'd say pick it up. I think there's a lot to enjoy here, and I don't think you'll lose sleep if you get it for the 15 either. But you know, eShop sales are always nice. Adventures of Pip was a fun time. I wouldn't say it's a must play, and there definitely are some problems here, like the lack of replayability, which I think will hurt it in the long run, but if you are interested, there is a quality product here. Though TikTok Games, if you are listening to this, making a game around 8-bit Pip's mechanics might not be a bad idea, I'm just saying. Anyway, I think it's time for this digital marathon to finally come to a close. It was definitely a fun way to start the year, and I actually had a lot of fun going into these games with no idea what I was getting into. And there was a lot of enjoyment to be had, especially from games like Freedom Planet. But now I think it's time to move on to another heavy hitter marathon. One you guys have been requesting for a long time. So, I better prepare my arsenal for this one. And that sounds really weird out of context. It's Ratchet & Clank, so, see you then. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. First off, I want to give special mention to CPTB, who's the artist that created that artwork you saw in the review. If you want to check him out, his Twitter handle is down below. Anyway, if you want to see more of my stuff, check out the Freedom Planet review on the left, or the rest of my reviews on the right. If you want to follow me, check me out on Facebook and Twitter because I update them quite frequently. And if you want to support the show directly, go to my Patreon. Everything from the Patreon goes right back into production. By the way, thank you Soul Ninja Star, Arcana, and Shy Ranger for being my top patrons. Thank you guys, you're awesome. Anyway, I really gotta buckle down for this marathon, so see you then.